heard the story about Lynn Jones Turpin. She's a reporter, some sort of reporter down in Jacksonville, Florida. The Jaguars, they lose to the Bills 27-24. She's at the post-game press conference. And Liam Coen, the head coach of the Jaguars, is holding his press conference. And Lynn Jones Turpin, who seems to be maybe in her early 60s, and she's there as a reporter for, I think, the Jacksonville Free Press. It's a black newspaper in Jacksonville. Let's play her question or her comment to the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Play the clip.
How you doing today? Lynn Jones, Jacksonville Free Press News. I just want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
you.
you.
You did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
So they just lost a playoff game, and Liam Coen made some real interesting decisions that, potentially cost his team. And Lynn Jones gives, the head coach of the Jaguars an attaboy, pat on the back. And my initial thoughts, I had two. One was like, oh, man, that certainly sounds like a black woman, and we certainly found out later that it was. And rather than being a black woman who's rigged to criticize anything white, particularly white men, she's actually, showing some support for Liam Coen. And so there was part of me that was like, oh, that's different, that's unique, that's a positive. She doesn't seem to be a racial idolater like every other black woman in the media and 90% of black men in the media. She's out here showing support for this white head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's one thought. The other thought, though, was, hey, this is silly. And when I heard her voice, I was like, I bet you she works for the black newspaper in Jacksonville. I bet you that there's no real expectations for her to act as a journalist. And come to find out, I was right. And now we're seeing people, because she's a black queen and because she works for the black newspaper and because we have no expectations for black leftists, black liberals, black people in the press to really function in any real professional manner, there are people bending over backwards defending her. And like, I get it. You have no expectations, and so you don't expect her to carry herself like a professional. You don't expect her to be in there and being a real journalist. And so people are defending it. And this whole argument broke out over social media because there were some people critical of Lynn Jones here. I want to read a few tweets. The first one I'm going to read is from Jemele Hill that really blows my mind. That can't be a reporter, because if so, I would not have used the term awesome. That's Jemele Hill's initial thought. Let me go to Mark Long. Mark Long works for the AP. Nothing awesome about fans, fake media doing stuff like that. It should be embarrassing for the people who credentialed her and her organization, and it's a waste of time for those of us actually working. I get what Mark Long is saying here, and he's like, hey man, everybody here is a journalist. We're all equals. We all should be held to the same standard. I completely get it. But Lynn Jones has gone on to defend herself. Let's play shot number 5 here. Lynn Jones responding to her critics.
Went in on this,
Yes.
and he said nothing awesome about this, called you fake media, said that you shouldn't even have been up there asking those kind of questions. So when you heard that, how did that make you feel?
I don't take no offense to it. Listen, I've been in this business more than 25 years. I've interviewed from Barack Obama to Terry Bradshaw to, what's my guy named Tiger Woods. So he can say whatever he wants about fake news. I am a member of the Black Press, NNPA, the National Newspaper Association, that's been around more than 100 years. I'm the associate editor of the Jacksonville Free Press, one of the more than 230 African-American newspapers still printing in this country today. In Jacksonville, you have the Florida Star since 1955. We've been around since 1986. In Philadelphia, the Philly Tribune has been printing since 1884. In my hometown of Detroit, the Michigan Chronicle has been printing since 1935. So support the Black Press. So you can call me fake all you want to, honey. I've been doing this a long time.
Let me tell you something.
So that's the typical Black queen response. How you gonna criticize me, baby boy, baby girl? I've been around forever. I can do no wrong. I get it. And just typical response. And I do want to say, I think in looking at the picture now, or looking at her now, as opposed to yesterday when I looked, she's probably late 50s, mid 50s, early 60s. I need to expand it. Just because her hair is white doesn't mean she's super old. But she certainly got the attitude, and certainly not surprised with her response. I am a tiny bit surprised, a tiny bit. Well, I was actually surprised Jemele Hill was critical of Lynn Jones at first, but that's clearly before she got her marching orders and figured out, like, hey, man, this is the Black queen. She works for the Jacksonville Black newspaper, and Jemele Hill probably heard she's from Detroit. And so Jemele Hill now has walked back her criticism. What would I say to my fellow media members and to the general public is that we're going to have this much discourse about the Jacksonville Free Press reporter, Lynn Jones. The very least we could do is follow her publication on social media and subscribe. This is one of the few Black newspapers still in existence. Many of us have been local reporters, and we know how challenging it is now for local papers to cover the news. So subscribe plus follow, as I just did. So what Jemele Hill is saying here, Lynn Jones, the very least we could do is follow her publication on social media and subscribe. This is one of the few Black newspapers still in existence. And so rather than hold them to any sort of standard, let's feel sorry for them. Let's smother them with empathy and sympathy and low expectations. Lynn Jones doesn't need to be professional. She's Black. That's the messaging from the media. And I've seen, again, I like Adam Schefter, but Adam Schefter's wrong here. He's the one that tweeted out how awesome this was. I halfway like Pat McAfee, and I'm going to play his clip here and say he's wrong. I like Scott Van Pelt. There's a clip of him out there defending this woman. This is what's insulting to me. And again, I'm talking about people that I like and respect. And, me and Adam Schefter came up together as guys covering the NFL and whatever. I'm telling you, I like Adam Schefter. But these leftists that have no standards for Black journalists, you're killing us. You're killing us. There's nothing wrong. There's actually something right about holding Black people to a professional standard. And so I want to play you the clip of Pat McAfee here, who had an interesting take. And when I first watched it, I was like, this is interesting. It's worth considering. But I'm about to go the other direction here after we play the clip. Let's play the clip.
I post out this morning about it because I've thought about it a lot. I've wondered why our show works. I've wondered why people like our show, legitimately. I have been so baffled by the fact that this show, and we would like to let you know, we are so thankful that we get to do this show, but why is this show having the success? And I think it's because most of the people that have been covering sports for a long time, not most, sorry, a percentage larger than you would hope, much larger than you would hope, that chose to do sports journalism. I think they don't like sports. I think these people hate sports. I think they're political journalists by nature who preyed on sports as an easier path to be able to get into the biz. You know, sports journalism is everywhere. Sports media, bum, bum, bum. I don't think they like sports. I think they cover sports. I don't think they like sports. So whenever you're always looking to kill something because you don't like it, I don't know if that should just necessarily be the only thing considered as journalism. Like, how about we just learned how Liam Coen, who might be a GOAT when it's all said and done, which is what Lynn Jones.
Yeah,
Hey,
you're the one.
Nobody expected this out of you guys. He might be a GOAT whenever it's all said and done, which means there'll probably be documentaries, there'll be entire things about Liam Coen. They'll be able to now know exactly how he was in one of the most miserable moments of his life because Lynn Jones provided him with a compliment. He was classy, he was had a lot of humility. He did not bury her, he did not get uncomfortable, he didn't deflect, he didn't do anything. He was just a humble, classy dude in a miserable time. Whenever he knows that he let down his team, he let down everybody. He feels terrible in that moment. So I hated the grandstanding about how that's terrible. That's good for sports. Okay, sports are supposed to be an uplifter. Sports are supposed to be a unifier. So if somebody who just so happens to have a pen or a microphone in front of them wants to say something positive about sports, that should be allowed. I don't think that should be something that's necessarily, hated on. But I guess if you go to the same exact journalism schools and you're all taught the same exact things about what you're supposed to do, whether it's sports or politics or medicine or all this shit, you're automatically going to be trying to pick things apart because everybody's in investigative journalism, which I respect the people that do that. I think they make the world better, but it's like, not everybody has to be a miserable prick. Mm-hmm. Like that isn't how you have to be. Sports are allowed to be like that. So I thought that was a good moment that happened for all of society to realize how some of these people are. Like, these people are just miserable. So whenever you're reading something happens and you're reading their angle, it's like they were not going to be able to find something positive in anything, like at all. So just remember that as we go forward.
So there are kernels of truth in what Pat McAfee is saying. And the big kernel is like, hey, there's a lot of people in sports journalism who don't like sports. And that is a problem. And there's a lot of people that just want to kill sports. And that's why, like, the New York Times and a lot of the media, they lean into the concussion story as it relates to the National Football League, and they do all kinds of reporting on, oh, it's so dangerous, and they never provide the context of, like, hey, man, men in American society and globally have always taken risks and done dangerous things. That's how we've made progress. And yes, there's some danger to football, but in comparison to men building skyscrapers as roughnecks and falling off buildings, men using dynamite to blow mountains up, to build highways through or roads through, that, this is what men do. This is how we discovered flying. This is how the Wright brothers discovered flying and built an airplane and blah. Men take incredible risk. That's what we do. And I think the risk of football has been overblown. But again, these people that hate sports and want to use sports to promote their agenda will never put the risk of football in proper context and never talk about all the benefits of guys like me that would have never seen a college campus, would have never got a college degree without football, and the whole risk of football well worth it for me. They never unpack the story in that way. And that's because they hate sports and they want to destroy sports, and they want to destroy sports as a way of discipling masculine men. So hating sports and being a journalist, it is a problem. And part of the reason it's a problem is because they've never seen sports properly loved. That or they've never seen fans enter into the sports media world executed properly while still maintaining their fandom. I can remember when I was working at the Kansas City Star, I got ripped because remember Dante Hall? He was the kick returner. He was incredible. Had a 2 or 3 year stretch where he was just incredible. Chiefs are playing the Broncos at home, and Dante Hall executed one of the greatest punt returns I've ever seen in my life. Made the entire defense miss him on a punt return. He returned, And I got all excited in the locker room, and me and Ron Jaworski high-fived after seeing that play. I got ripped for that. Like, oh, Whitlock's cheering in the press box, and he's acting like a fan. And I never denied. The entire time when I was in Kansas City, people didn't understand. I was a Chiefs fan. I liked Marty Schottenheimer. I liked Derek Thomas. Carl Peterson will never believe this, but I actually liked Carl Peterson. But I still was critical of them. I love the Indiana Pacers, but I spent my whole life criticizing the Pacers for the dumb things that they do. You can be a fan and still be critical of your team and of the sport because you actually love it. And if more journalists actually love the games that they were covering, they would criticize them when necessary and when appropriate, and they would praise them when necessary and when appropriate. It is possible to be a good journalist and to be a sports fan. The other aspect of this that Pat McAfee is missing, and I say this respectfully, I'm not trying to kill Pat McAfee. He's a disruptor. In some ways, he's a force for good, but in some ways, he's way out over his skis. This is an NFL punter talking about journalism. He knows nothing about journalism. Nothing. And so for him to be scolding journalists for pointing out hey, man, in this environment, a post-game press conference, we don't lather up guys making $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 million a year for coaching the team. In the 15 minutes that we get to interview them after a playoff game or after a regular season game or after a preseason game, we don't bathe them in praise and waste 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 2 minutes just praising people, multimillionaires for coaching a game when they just lost a playoff game. What we do is we come in here and ask questions that help us advance the stories or the news broadcast that we're going to do. She's done something inappropriate in the environment that she's in. It's no different than, hey, if you go to church, you don't fart out loud in church. It may be appropriate watching the game in your man cave with your boys to fart. Everybody thinks it's funny. But you go to church, you do a whole different behavior. If Pat McAfee, as a punter, every time they snapped him the ball, he threw a pass rather than punting the ball, he would lose his job. Some things, there's a time and a place for everything. And that wasn't the time or place for this woman to lather up Liam Coen with praise. There's 60, 70,000 people in that stadium that before the game, probably during the game, they were probably praising and applauding Coen and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Anywhere he goes in Jacksonville, there are people patting Liam Coen on the back. That's what fans do. That's what a city does. If Lynn Jones saw Liam Coen out in public somewhere, not at a post-game press conference, hey, man, you're great. What you did this season was great. Yep, it was tough losing that game. It's people thought I was crazy because every year I would throw a Christmas party in Kansas City, and I would invite Carl Peterson or Roy Williams or Bill Self or whoever, Bill Snyder. I'd have these guys over to my house for a Christmas party, and I'd give them Christmas gifts. And because I liked them. I respected them. But in the newspaper, as a journalist, I was critical from time to time of what they did. That's what a journalist does. And so, wrong place, wrong time, not the setting, not the environment. She's done something wrong, and what she did was worthy of criticism. The other category of people that Pat McAfee has left out here, and others have left out, there are, he say, oh, everybody hates sports. Well, there's a lot of people that just want to profit from sports. They don't really love sports. They love profiting from sports. They love the popularity they can glean from being connected to sports. And I say this respectfully, Pat, when you enter into the sports media in the way that you did, it wasn't to be an asset to sports, to help the leagues grow properly, to police something as powerful as professional sports. You entered into the profession to profit from it. Hats off to you. It's America. It's capitalism. Hats off to you. But your motives and everybody at ESPN's motives and their involvement in sports, what their motives are, can be questioned and should be questioned, no different from the people who hate sports and are there to execute their mission to destroy sports or to change sports. Those guys are bad too. But the people that are here just to profit from it, have no interest in policing it, have no interest in holding it accountable, have no interest in leaving it better than what they found it, they're every bit as dangerous as the people that Pat McAfee is criticizing for hating sports. And so all the people at ESPN and a lot of these mainstream, all they want to do is benefit financially from sports. And they all know that we all got to be in the little same clique, hey, Liam Coen, he's a celebrity and he's making millions just like I'm making millions. And let's all protect each other. And let's all make sure that none of us, or that all of us, experience as little criticism as possible. And so let's wrap everybody in a protective bubble. And so for ESPN, I'm telling you, I like Pat McAfee. But allowing Pat McAfee to go on television and on ESPN and shred the media, he's no different than this woman. He's way outside of his capabilities, his level of expertise. He's doing something he's not equipped to do. He can't hold the media accountable because he has no idea what the media's actual role is. He should entertain and deal with lightweight stuff and do the kickoffs at halftime, or the kickoff, the pregame kicks for game day and all of that, and be a personality on game day and on his show. But lecturing the media and calling out, and trust me, there are people that hate sports that need to be removed. But the people that are just there as vultures to profit off sports, they need to be eliminated as well. And some of them actually at one point probably loved sports. Maybe went as far as playing in professional football and loved sports. But when it was over, they transitioned into, hey man, how can I get involved in the media and profit from this? They're a problem too.